Lewis, why don't you talk about a memory from your football playing days?
The sports days, we sound like narcs. Like back in my sports playing days.
I mean, you don't play sports anymore, so you are a narc now.
I had one bucket Friday morning in 5 games at Pick Up Hoops. Thank you very much.
Are you proud of that?
Ryan has said from the start, humans are goal-seeking animals.
Yeah.
Aristotle said that before me.
Ryan has been called the Aristotle of his time, though.
I don't know about that one.
What's up, everybody? You've got Ryan, the CEO of DubClub. I am joined by my esteemed co-founders once again on the DubClub Founding 3 podcast. I've got Lewis and Dash. They're actually together today in Chicago, which is pretty exciting. It's nice to see them in the same room. Makes me happy. I know it makes them happy. They don't get enough time together anymore. But Founding 3, episode 5, we've been able to make it through 4 of these so far. They have typically gone between 45 minutes to 75 minutes. We're going to try to keep these between 30 and 45 minutes going forward, hit on the main points, focus on the important stuff. Last week, we had our founding product designer join, Sam Croswell. The reason why we brought him in is a reminder to everyone, as you build a business, you need to have a purpose. You need to know why you're doing the work. You need to know what really gives you that sense of satisfaction. And Sam talked last week about what we're working on, what we're building in product for our users to help them make more money, help our CEO partners build the businesses of their dreams online. Sam's at the forefront of all that. We'll have future guests, but today you're stuck with just us 3. I'm going to kick it off with the question of the minute every single time we do this podcast. Dash, I will start with you. I'd love to know, after a busy week with Super Bowl coming up this Sunday, what CEO partner is inspiring you and why?
Ironically, I'm not actually going with a football-specific partner that is inspiring me right now. I guess you could say overseas football, but not American football.
Football. I know who you're going with.
I got to give a huge shout-out to our man, Goblin Gang. Goblin Gang just surpassed a massive milestone, so I want to celebrate that moment with him and the hard work that he's put in over the course of the last 2.5 years on the platform. When I think about Goblin Gang, he is the ultimate community, ultimate vibes individual. When he visited Chicago, we took him over to Bally's, the casino, and he was literally the life of the party. High-fiving dealers, high-fiving people around him, passing out chips.
Good clubhouse guy.
Yeah, the ultimate clubhouse guy. From a handicapping perspective, incredibly fascinating background. He was born and raised in Brazil. He was pursuing professional soccer, and that brought him to the States, where he lived with a boarding family in California on that pursuit. He knows the insides and outs of the game like nobody I've ever chatted with, and so it's unsurprising that he is the quality of handicapper that he is. He has been on an absolute tear. I have seen 2 25Xs and 6 10Xs this week alone. Wow. If you go to his Twitter page, you see these incredible testimonials up and down the board. So shout out to Bernardo, the man, the myth himself. Congratulations on all your success. It is very earned. And can't wait to celebrate with you in person in Chicago.
That's awesome. Bernardo's got a cool business and a cool story. Didn't he play? I think he played soccer, right? Collegiately?
Yes.
He was an athlete.
Came from Brazil at I believe he said the age of 15, where he moved to California, lived with a boarding family, and was playing for like the amateur team that levels up into a professional organization. Eventually went and played Division I soccer, had a great career. He's like, man, I have built a pretty good understanding of how this sport functions, and I'm a very analytics, data-driven individual. Let me just parlay the two of those together.
Pun intended.
Too easy.
Two-man.
And started, he was with a different platform previously. He was charging $10 a month and had sub 100 subscribers when we initially found him. It's a testament to the hard work that he's put in, the optimization and tweaks that we've made to his model when it comes to running a subscription-based business. And it's just been awesome to be along for the ride and contribute to his success. So shout out to him.
I'm gonna keep going on unraveling Bernardo's story here. You know, the CEO of Goblin Gang. Do you remember what platform Goblin Gang was building his business on before he came over to DubClub?
He was previously on Patreon. And
do you remember how much he was making? Like in comparison, I guess we could do before and after.
I believe he had 111 subscribers at $10 a month.
Yeah, that's not a full-time job. That's not a full-time sustainable income, right? It's a couple $1,000s a month.
He went from making a couple $1,000s a month to this year.
That's a lot of cup of noodles.
Yeah. Getting married, buying his dream home, going on his dream honeymoon, and finally living the life that he's been chasing. He may not have gotten the opportunity to live that life as a result of a long-lasting professional soccer career, but
he's figured it out.
The life that he's living is not far different.
And Dash, so Bernardo's the CEO of Goblin Gang. Does he? I think he has a team, right? So he does some of the contribution of content, like he's putting out plays for soccer into his, through his DubClub to his community and Discord. But what does the rest of the composition of his team look like? Who else is putting out content? What sports do they cover? Do you have an idea of that? I know you've spent a lot of time with him.
Yeah. He has the Goblin Gang farm system, I call them. He has a team.
The goblets.
The goblins.
The goblins.
The goblins.
His primary focus is in soccer, and he dabbles a little bit in the NBA. That's his second love. When we went to the Bulls game last winter, you would have thought that he was the biggest Bulls fan in the world. So his primary focus being soccer, slight into NBA, and then he's built a team of, I believe, 6 current sub-contributors that have different sports that they specialize in. Some are focused on DFS in particular. Others are focused in sportsbook plays. Mm-hmm. I think that is a big reason that his Discord community is as lively as it is. Yes, his subscribers love receiving plays through the Plays app, but if you look at how many of his current active subscribers have connected their Discord user token, it is an incredibly large amount because they want to be a part of the community. They want to receive plays from different specialists, providing different offerings. Fun thing about him is his brother is actually his leading affiliate. So shout out Henrique. He's been crushing.
Family business. My goodness, that's pretty cool.
To go a step further,
Goblin Gang, they need a succession plan.
Congrats to Henrique and shout out Henrique, but Bernardo's wife is also the real operational muscle of the team. Maddie, I had the pleasure of meeting Maddie a couple times when they visited Chicago, and she's super involved in the business. And as someone whose significant other is super involved in my business, our business, like Reese and Maddie like hit it off instantly. Being an entrepreneur, it makes it a lot easier if your significant other, your partner, is part of the show and part of the business building apparatus and integrated with your work-life craziness. And she is 100% 10 toes down with the Goblin Gang army. So shout out Maddie as well. And congrats. The paint's barely dry on the wedding photo, so there's a lot to celebrate in the Goblin household.
Lou, what was the number one thing that Maddie and Reese bonded over, do you think, as it relates to supporting, their significant others in the pursuit of building a business?
Bernardo and I share a lot in common. I think here's a good example. Reese today brought 3 pairs of chinos to the office because I forgot to bring an extra pair of pants to the gym this morning. So I walked into the office with sweats and a polo on. She is the logistical hub of the household, and she brings that operational excellence to DubClub, actually. So, she prepared for our new hires who started on Monday. She got their desks ready. She made sure that everything was laid out correctly. She made sure that they had name tags on the desk and everyone else had name tags on the desk. Maddie is that similar logistical type A personality who gets shit done. So, people like Bernardo and I can be more creative, be more energy deployed on the things that we're good at, which is not, I would say, the like logistical blocking and tackling. So we found partners that complement our strengths.
There's a fun story, or whatever you want to call it, comparison of like, it's called Pioneers, Settlers, and Town Builders, and how every company or every household has different ones. People should read up on that if they haven't, but that's kind of what it reminds me of as you talk about the dynamic there. It makes a lot of sense. Lou, why don't we go over to you and have you tell us about maybe a new partner that you're pretty fired up and who's inspiring you this past week?
We're heading to Jerry World on the Founding 3 podcast this week. Jerry Wins made his debut last week. I guess it's 2 weeks ago now at Airtate. I've had the privilege of getting last week.
Yeah, last Thursday, I think, was when he announced his community.
Exactly. Well, this will be a week from now, so
it's true.
Whatever. Whenever you're listening to this, it was in late January. Jerry is another person like Bernardo and I. Very creative, very innovative. I like to call him a human charisma factory. Like, spending 5 minutes with him, you're like, oh man, this guy's the real deal. Like, there's no acting with him. He's incredibly authentic. He's incredibly energetic, charismatic, just energizing being with him. He's been in the space for a long time. He's worked with a lot of the top sports content creators in the world, helping them build amazing businesses. And one morning he woke up and he's like, my turn. It's time for me to do it myself and own my own business and own all the upside of owning my own business. And being a partner with him on that journey and seeing all the success he's had early, while also knowing like this guy's just getting started, has been a ton of fun. And the guy's content is like can't turn away, entertaining. So Jerry's definitely inspiring me right now.
Lou, do you have a sense for why Jerry decided to launch his business on DubClub? Like, what was it about this partnership that you think gave him the spark that he needed to take the leap on his own for the first time after having helped build so many other businesses in this industry that provide, advice, consultation, whatever you want to call it, to sports bettors out there? Jerry now started his own business, but why did he trust us to do it?
He's seen it all. Like, he's worked with clients who have worked with every platform in the space, and he's seen like where the bodies are buried with each of them. I think there was just a real belief that we were building the winning platform and he wanted to be a part of it. I think it's that simple. The other piece that I think is really important for a guy like Jerry, who's going to be successful no matter where he builds the business, there's a really strong culture fit. He's a college athlete, bunch of college athletes running this business. From the first minute I met him, there was like an instant culture fit in terms of scrappy, entrepreneur, hungry, funny, takes the work seriously without taking himself seriously. So the combination of the culture fit and the belief in what we're building and having seen it, working, there's a lot of mutuals that work with DubClub on the CEO partner side of things that he could validate and peek under the hood and be like, oh, they got some cool tools. They got a lot of interesting resources I want to tap into. It was a perfect storm, and we got to meet in person and break bread, which makes it much easier as well. That's a funny story. But I think it's the culture fit, it's the belief, and it's the validation from people that he knows and trusts.
I think that, the win more together really flows through with somebody like that, who I think can build a great business and a great community. So I totally hear that. I think that's Jerry's personality. But it's not just Jerry, right? The Jerry Wins business is what launched on DubClub last week. But the funny thing is, when we met with Jerry, and I learned more from him about the brains behind the operation and his quotes. Jerry's got a CEO of his life that he calls his business partner. Can you talk a bit about Clay, who is the co-CEO effectively of Jerry Wins on DubClub, but really does a lot of the behind the scenes stuff and was the one that stepped forward and said, hey, look, I really like this product. I think this is a good fit. What does Clay remind you of, Lewis? And, how do the two of them work really well together as business partners?
This is like the 1 + 1 = 3 episode when it comes to partnerships, whether it's Reese and I when I forget my pants at the gym, or Bernardo and Maddie kind of being like two sides of the same coin for their business. I think Jerry and Clay have a similar dynamic where Jerry is this one-of-one content creator, has unbelievable, unmatched expertise with respect to digital marketing, virality, and taking over the timeline. And Clay is someone who he really depends on to execute day-to-day business operations. So as part of the getting to know Jerry wins process, it was crucial that we were going to give Clay the tools that he needed as well to run the business in a smooth fashion. So when Ryan and I sat down at lunch with Jerry and Clay, like Jerry and I were just hyping each other up for the first 30 minutes when Ryan and Clay are on the other side of the table, like actually reviewing the product, the automated marketing campaigns, the payment flow, how all that stuff works. So I think it's another example of, where the real business magic happens, and the partnership magic is win more together, people that have complementary skills and get to spend more time on what they're really good at because they have teammates that are good at complementary things.
Do you, from the meeting with Jerry and Clay and from some of the other CEO partners that are building their business on DubClub who have built teams around them, I'm curious as we get into like this next segment, what opportunities are you guys seeing as it pertains to building a business with a team around you, doing it as a solo, entrepreneur? I mean, this is what we're seeing at DubClub, and also maybe what we're seeing, in the market at large in with regards to direction that people are moving. What are you guys seeing?
I'll go first, but I'm going to use Goblin Gang as an example.
Beautiful.
You said Goblin Gang has had, 2 25Xs, 5 10Xs in the past week. So we track, when something like that happens, we call it a magic moment, right? Someone's on an unbelievable performance run. We need to turn that into a magical sales moment because you never know when they come around. So we do a lot of coaching on how to optimize that from a subscriber lifetime value perspective. Dash can tell you more about that. The other thing we do is share that story with our audience. We built a really large consumer footprint on social media, on email, and the website as well. Like, those billboards are really powerful and really valuable to our partners. And there's really no one else in the space who has such a large and focused audience of potential consumers. So being a partner to someone like Bernardo, who's on a heater, or Jerry, who's getting this thing off the ground for the first time, to help really drive economic impact based on our network of consumers, it matters a lot. I was texting 25 of our top partners over the weekend about, like, is this important? What about us having all these consumers potentially subscribing to your product that's important? The more eyeballs we can put on great products, the more value we can create for the CEO partners and DubClub as a business. So I think that's something that's very top of mind for me right now, is like using our resources and network to drive dollars for the partners that we get to work with.
Dash,
my
what do you think
perspective-
What do you got
about the
for us?
concept of
No.
teams?
That you hit the nail on the head, and mine's relatively in line with that. Well, I have two today. The 2 C's: competition and content creation. I guess 3 C's.
Yeah.
Yeah, C cubed. Competition. Why is this important? Just yesterday, we announced our February partner challenge. Every single month, we host a different partner challenge of one sort or another. Obviously,
that.
with the Super Bowl quickly approaching, and
Competition challenge.
Yes.
There's a 4th C.
4 C's. We have the Super Bowl quickly approaching, and so we have set up a competition for partners on the platform. Whoever can activate the most SB50 50% off coupons. Why is this important? Ryan has said from the start, humans are goal-seeking animals.
Yeah.
Very well-known quote. And that
Aristotle
has
said
really,
that before
Not just
me.
Ryan.
I just stole
That-
it. Man is a
has
goal-seeking
really-
animal.
Ryan has been called the Aristotle of his time, though.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, that's
that
yet to
has
be
really
said.
This form of competition it's become overwhelmingly apparent that this is a great motivating factor
You
for
get
partners
texts
on
from
DubClub.
top partners like, "Hey, I was looking at the leaderboard." Like,
The first week of January, I must have gotten 15 text messages from partners saying, where did I stack rank in terms of overall earnings on the platform in 2024? Every single week, we put out our best sellers from the previous week. There are people who literally text me Monday morning at 9 a.m. saying, when is it going to be updated?
Where
When is
I'm
it
at.
going to be updated? We have partners that are very passionate about this, but from time to time will fall into a sense of comfort.
the
And
fifth
these-
C.
Yes, and these types of competitions.
They're coasting.
Keep coming.
They're trying to chill out.
These types of competitions serve as amazing reminders and amazing motivation to, hey, I am not satisfied with where I'm currently at. I know I have more in the tank. And so if you're a current partner on the platform, leaderboard will be out shortly. This competition will be running through the Super Bowl all the way until the end of the month. I'm excited to whoever I get to send the cash prize to. We'll have
Dash,
to
what
do a
is the
little
cat?
recap.
Let's talk about, man is a goal-seeking animal, right? Yeah, obviously have the recognition of winning the challenge, but what is the cash prize that is awarded to the top-selling SB50 promo code CEO partner on DubClub? What do
The
they get?
seventh C itself. Tell us about the cash.
It is this month in particular. It's a $500 in cash, and the amazing part about that is there will be individuals that could make six figures in a given month.
Yeah, but they want that 500.
All they care about
Matters more.
is that $500 in cash.
I can tell you
which
why.
is-
I mean, I have a thesis, and I'm curious, Dash, because you spent a lot of time in the trenches with the partner success team and our partners spinning up these challenges. But I have a thesis as to why that matters so much. Obviously, they're very, the whatever third C or second, I don't know how many C's you guys ended up coming up with, but one of the C's was competitive, right? And I think what's really, really fun about building DubClub and working with the people we work with is that they are highly competitive. And a challenge like the one that we lay out, these sales challenges, people may ask, why are you guys doing that? Why are you running a sales challenge for the sellers on your platform? What good does that do? Well, the reality is we're trying to serve our vision to be a destination where anyone can benefit from sports content. We have these amazing content creators with this amazing advice that they're sending via their DubClubs. Coupling that with an incentive for them to compete to show who can sell and acquire more people to pay them for this advice is literally winning more together. The people who are providing the advice are hungry and they fight and they get paid more, and it benefits more people on the consumer side. But my hunch from a competitive standpoint as to why I think they love that $500 cash prize, even though the amount of money they'd be making from these sales challenges is way more than that, is because you have to combine two things, right? You have to actually be really good at handicapping, right? Contributing the content that provides winners throughout the month. Otherwise, people aren't really going to care to buy your stuff. And number two, you have to be really good at sales and marketing. So there's the product and the business combination for our CEO partners, which is, again, why we see them as these CEOs of their business. They really do view this as a business. And I think, I personally find that fascinating. I don't know, Dash, if you get the same sense as to why they're so competitive about it. There's different elements involved here, but what is your read on the situation?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, overall, competition as a whole is incredibly healthy, and we all come from competitive backgrounds, having played sports our whole lives. Many, if not all of our partners were athletes at one point or another and are motivated by that sense of competition. So it's pretty simple. Even internally here at DubClub, we have internal DubClubber competitions. The individual whose accounts sell the most of those, that partner success manager gets a reward on the back end of that. And so we now internally are also motivated to push our partners to greater limits and greater limits. And so it's kind of like a flywheel effect that makes things fun, makes things interesting, and most importantly, makes things competitive.
I actually have an 8th or 9th C word.
writing them down
over
pen
here.
and paper like an old man.
The leaderboard concept, which I love, it also gives you something very powerful, which is clues.
Expand.
Success leaves clues. That's one of Dash's great idioms of all time. And I've heard this from our partners as well. They're looking at the leaderboard not just to see where they are stacking up, but also who's on top. What does their content and marketing look like? I remember one month, I think the challenge was most profile visits. And we had an individual who was at the top of the leaderboard who had figured out that like Threads was exploding and had figured out a way to get in the Threads algo. Mm-hmm. And that inspired us like a secondary wave of people getting into Threads and trying their hat at Threads. So when you have a specific focus and you see who's winning, it leaves clues as to, okay, who's winning the SB50 challenge? Well, let me see what their marketing looks like for this specific promo code. Let me maybe copy some of those strategies and tactics, or implement, or, find ways to follow the leader. I say this all the time. It's a copycat league. When you have these specific metrics you're trying to move, it's very helpful to see who's winning, what can I learn from that individual, and implement into my game. I think we got to 10.
A copycat was a big needle mover there.
Yeah, that got
us.
us over the hill.
Does that count as 1 or 2?
I don't know. I think there's a hyphen in there.
Should I even get into the second C or the second and third C, content creation?
I think we're good.
All right.
In
Let's stop there.
in the spirit of keeping it to 45, I know you can only stand so much of me.
I mean, what I wanted to jump in on, Lou, with what you're talking about, as someone who's building their business on DubClub, you get the benefit of having the purview of people that are doing it right. So the leaderboard concept is one thing, where you stand in the sales challenge, but to your point, there's a single pane of glass basically through our partner success reps that can tell us based off what's working with other businesses on DubClub what you should be trying, right? Check out Threads. There's a good seam there. Here's how you can market your stuff on Threads. That's a lot. That's very valuable for an entrepreneur, a college student, like whoever is deciding to build their business on DubClub and try to get going. It's really hard to do so without guidance. Even if you're making $100,000 a month, you still want to look at what is resonating in the market at that given point in time. I mean, it's stuff that we do all the time. We look for guidance. We look for clues. We have people who are coaching us. I think it's pretty unique to have that opportunity in a market like this, where you now get the perspective of 1,000+ sports content creator CEOs that are funneling all of their performance and like sales outcomes through the partner success reps that are then coaching other partners who get that info. So I like that point. Have you guys heard of the story of Brookie J? Are you familiar? I know you've probably spoken with her, but do you know her background in terms of CEO partners that are inspiring us? As I was talking about, what's resonating, what's working, she is a CEO CEO partner on DubClub that has a very relatable story, I think, because she came from a pretty, I would say, fairly traditional background for most people, right? She wasn't like, a hedge fund analyst or something that got into this space and is super numbers driven. She just loves sports, and she's grown up loving sports. She lives out in Detroit. She spent about 5 years working at CVS and then another couple years working as a floor manager at Myers, which I think is like a kitchen retail store. And while she was there, she started putting out her plays on Twitter, running some giveaways, building a bit of a community. And back in roughly April of last year, I believe I reached out to her. I know one of our reps has been in contact with her since then, but I reached out to her because I saw the engagement she was getting on her on her Twitter feed from the post she was putting out. People loved the creativity of the parlay slips she was putting together and the advice she was giving on what to water down. What ended up happening was she launched her DubClub in April of 2024. As of the CEO Corner podcast episode I did with her last week, she has quit her full-time job at Meyer. So she's doing this full-time, running her DubClub. She's made about $500,000. She paid off all of her mom's debts. She paid off all of her debts, and she paid for a super expensive surgery that she needed for her appendix back in November, all with the money made from her DubClub. So that was like an amazing story to me because that's kind of, I would say, not par for the course with CEO partners on DubClub, but it gives a sense for what's possible if you continue to iterate and learn. And the big takeaway I had from talking with Brooke, which everyone should listen to the podcast, it's a really great episode. She started out with more traditional kind of lotto style. She has two types of plays. There's like safes and there's lottos. The safes are basically the higher likelihood or higher confidence set of plays she puts together into parlay, and then she'll put together a lotto, which is a bit more of a long shot, and she lets people pick and choose which they want to tail. But recently she's been putting out the role player, like the bench player NBA parlays, which are really fun and take only people that come off the bench, and she stacks those into a parlay, and she's been cashing those left and right. But there was a huge moment back in November, if you guys remember, where she and Big Board Bets, Vic, who we talked about last week, they did a collaboration together. They both like individually put slips together and then combined them, and I think it cashed for like plus 80,000 or something. Pretty insane. But anyways, back to the origin with Brooke is basically she went from, working a job she wasn't super excited about, that wasn't really able to pay, the most critical of bills or pay off her debt, to pursuing her passion, going for it, starting to market herself on social media by simple things, right? Putting out content, starting to engage with her community, run a lot of giveaways. She ran up her follower count. She launched her DubClub at about 5,000 followers, I think. Now she's at about 110,000. And yeah, she made, $500,000 in the last year, and there's no signs of slowing down. So she's the CEO partner that's inspiring me this week. I think there's a lot more to build off of that with her business, but it's a very inspiring story, and you should listen to the CEO Corner podcast on it. Have you guys interacted with Brooke yet in terms of, conversations around where she's at, how's her business doing, how's she feeling? Because she seemed very happy, and that was very, very exciting for me.
I'm texting with her back and forth. We're going to talk this week. But something that I really glommed onto with my new partnerships hat on that I hear all the time, where people are really hesitant to launch a paid subscription business to their audience because they're worried it will slow their growth down on social media. Like, what a powerful data point that
it's pretty
Brooke
incredible.
was able to 20x her following on social media while also earning all this very meaningful income in that same period of time. I think in the old world, there was this kind of like false either or, where I'm either a free content creator or I'm someone who's quote unquote paid. What we know is the way to build a durable, long-lasting business is I have a bundle of free content, I have a subscriber-only experience, and they're complementary to each other. So what a powerful data point. At a human level, I'm fired up for Brooke. That's an amazing story. And as an entrepreneur and as someone who's trying to work with the next great crop, it's an amazing case study as well that just shows the power. It doesn't slow down when you launch your subscription business in terms of growing your top of funnel and eyeballs. In many ways, it makes it easier because now you've got so much more credibility and opportunities to collaborate.
I was just about to hit on credibility.
The C's.
What she did such a good job was continuing to create value
Yep.
to her followers. So she was still providing net new individuals with a reason to hit that follow button and continue to visit her profile daily because she was giving out free content. And she was also building credibility in the process. And so that big slip that she hit was a free play. It did change legitimately many of her followers' lives. And it just created that snowball effect that led to that viral growth. So important for creators to remember that just because we put up a paywall, that doesn't mean the value creation for free stops.
It's the exact opposite. It becomes more important.
Yes.
Your free content feeds everything. And that's just something that, it's understandable why it gives people anxiety, but that's our job as someone who's very experienced in the space. Consultants, there you go, there's another C, to make clear what they're actually signing up for, which is introducing a premium experience, a premium product offering that is driven by what you do for free on socials organically.
I think the perfect case study for that, again, with Brooke, is that she still had her job at Myers for, 6 months after she launched her DubClub. So it wasn't like she was jumping head first. She was building her business, letting it get some traction with the following she had started to accumulate. And then, as you guys mentioned, she kept providing more and more value to her followers and eventually got to a point where she was comfortable enough from the income she was earning from her DubClub business that she was able to step away from her full-time job and become the CEO of her DubClub full-time. Why don't we do one quick story from one of the founders from their sports days, talking about a memory that there's no way the audience would know about, but they'd want the audience to know about. Lewis, why don't you talk about a memory from your football playing days?
The sports days, we sound like narcs. Like back in my sports playing days. I was thinking about this actually because I thought I was
you don't play sports anymore, so you are a narc now. Or narp.
I had one bucket Friday morning in 5 games of pickup hoops. Thank you very much.
Are you proud of that?
How about that pause?
How many rebounds though?
I had good rebounds. I was.
It's Dennis Rodman.
Honestly, I didn't even have.
You hit the
gassed.
points,
It was the second
points,
time
rebound,
I played.
assist over 2 points.
Yeah.
10 rebounds.
Brookie J, if you had me in your role player, special, I hope you had the under because it was not a good showing for your boy. In the spirit of role players, and by the way, this is not going to be nearly as inspirational as Dash's last week, which was pretty cool. But this is a good clippable story because Doran can grab the clip. When we started thinking about DubClub, we DM'd 200, at the time, what was commonly referred to as cappers, on Twitter. These primarily avatars who were giving out plays for free on Twitter or doing it behind like a shoddy paywall. And we were doing it from the Stanford Walk-On Twitter account because none of us had any followers on Twitter. And at the time, the Stanford Walk-On Twitter account had like maybe 2,000 followers. So we thought we had more bona fides and we would, get better responses. I think, Ryan, that Twitter account was like your brainchild. So you can explain more about that. But if you look at the pinned tweet of that Twitter, I believe it's what it still is to this day. It's me
I'm trying
basically
to look it up now.
Yeah, exactly. Fact check me. It's basically me getting impaled on a blocking sled.
I was going to say, if that's not the pinned tweet, I'm going to make sure it becomes the pinned tweet again because, oh, yeah, it is. Okay, it's freaking awesome. From August of 2018. I remember when I was running the account up until that point. I remember seeing that, and I think I laughed for like 30 minutes straight.
So that's a good little sizzle reel we can add on. If you're thinking about where to run your sports content business, know that you should do so with a founding team that can single-handedly destroy any blocking sled in its path.
Literally knocked it off of its spoke. Pretty incredible.
That's explosiveness.
Yeah, explosive. Guys, this was another good, fun podcast. We're gonna cut it short today. Because I don't have Wi-Fi, so I'm on hotspot, and that's a ticking time bomb before that cuts out. And B, because a lot of good content today. We're gonna keep these between 30 and 45 minutes going forward. Pack in some really good content around what's happening in the world of DubClub as our CEO partners actively build businesses, help people win more together. We're gonna, consume content a bit quicker for folks who are listening and keep it more essential. Any last comments before we end episode 5?
I hope the AV was good. It was a little bit of a fire drill before, so thank you for tuning in. We're consistently trying to level up. This was fun. I like the in-person and remote vibe. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, we are always open to feedback. Again, the win more together part of our mission statement is true. We can win more, but we win more together. Episode 5, Founding 3. We'll catch you guys next week.